Jade Capital Partners End of Week Webinar. Hi, my name is Rob Clayton. Well, over the course of the last few days since the report went out earlier in the week, the Australian dollar has pretty much locked in a range of 75.40 to 76.60. And as you can see here, we are in a downward pattern here, especially when you jump into the dailies. We're not quite broken out of this pattern where the market wants to actually show any kind of potential bullish advance. But saying that, a break into tonight, if this is the case, of 76.60, then further momentum would trigger a rally up towards around the 77 to 77.5, which again I feel the market will foul. The reason behind that is you can see here 1, 2, 3, and ever since then it hasn't progressed further than 76.60. So I like to sell into strength, anything beyond 76.60, and look towards the support of 75.40. Now beneath 75.40 would expose further weakness to an objective of around about 74 cents. So tonight is very clearly determined on what levels will break and sustain. I'm on the bear side, and I'm looking to sell into strength. The euro, well, since the firm uptrend earlier in the week coming through here, you can see here the upside objective of 113.60.65 was respected once, twice, and now struggling to get there. If the nature of the current pattern holds to a negative sentiment, then I'm looking for a move down towards 112.40 and eventually through this level and look down to given it an objective that I've been calling now for a couple of weeks of 109.50.75. What should be noted is the fact that this whole move and this rejection here does support that fact that euro will be weaker, and even breaking down in the daily indicators suggests to me that we are heading back towards the downside. So a stronger US dollar likely to come through if this pattern's correct. In the event we do break above 113.60.65, then this would give scope up towards 114.05.30, but from here I believe it won't sustain more than minutes, seconds, like it did back here. So this is just to be a stop loss move, then lower. So 109 is still very much on the cards for what I'm looking for in terms of what the technicals are implying. Well, the pound has been very much mixed over the last few days, especially when we had a break recently to the upside, gave an objective now of 132.50 to 133 the figure. And from what I can see from the recent price action is that currently the market is breaking down slightly. The reason why I say slightly is the fact that if we see a move under 131.5, which you can see here is pretty much where the market troughs and peaks. So under 131.5 gives further weakness and gives an objective of 130 the figure. Now while this level holds, do note that the recent break to the upside, the rejections from this level of 131.5 does look like we can get to about 133. Then the market's most probably be a sell like it was back here, and you'll see heavy supply come back and send it back down to the 130, 128 region. But one thing to note is the fact that it is in an uptrend, and you can see here that 130, 150, 60 does play quite an important role. So into tonight, do watch for that level. If it does break, that's the trigger to send it back down to 130. Dollar yen, well, there's not much to say here really. The fact is that it's locked in a 99.40 to 101.15 range. And as you can see here, we go on the hourlies, that the last few times the last few times that the market's traded towards this region. Okay, so the chart seems to be playing around for some reason. Here we go. Got it. Finally. Okay. So it's been a bit of an internet connection there. So we've got 101.15 as resistance, and at the moment we still have 99.40. Now, what will break first? I feel that the downside is still the risk at the moment with a stronger yen coming through, looking towards 99.40 with an objective of 98.60.65. That was indicated in the report. Now, under pretty much 99.80, the possibility of a BOJ return is quite high. And I think that's probably why the market's a little bit hesitant about going pretty much under that level. But though if we go through 99.40, stops will be triggered, and I'll give it another 100 to about another 120 points lower. In the event we go through the resistance of 101.15, the recent rejection here, it would give further leverage up towards 101.75.85, maybe extending towards 102.30 before turning round. But nevertheless, it's very hard to see this because we're hesitating here, and it looks like it's drawn to a magnet towards this 99.40 level. So that's where I'm looking for at the moment. Gold. Well, time to reevaluate gold. The break of 13.28 this week does give further scope to the downside and holds towards that bullish fortress, which is around 1300. In light of the break and in light of the rejection around that 1356, sub 1300 doesn't see really any technical level until 1250. So do keep a note of that if we do find that the weakness does carry on, that we could see at least $50 underneath 1300. Looking at the upside, well, resistance now comes in at 1328 and above, probably around about 36 to 41, we'll find the bears returning and ambush any bullish threat. Interesting story with oil. We had a bullish outside range day, strong bull candles all the way up to its objective, and then now backing away and easing out of an overbought situation. Not quite fully broken to the downside, but nevertheless, still looks like we can pull back to about $44 a barrel, and any advances now should find cap around $48.40. Reassess if we get down to the $44, because we might see a recovery back to about 48 to 50 again. An interesting story with the S&P is the fact that from the weekly report I put out, there was cracks coming through the support. There still is cracks, and as you can see here, this oscillator is actually strengthening to the downside, especially when we had a follow-on to test that level at 21.64 after getting to a low of 66 last night, I believe. 67. Now, take note that if we go through the level of from the report of 21.64, it does open up towards an objective seen at 21.22, where these peaks come in, and it was the beginning of the next leg up to this upside. With a double top coming through, the break of 64 does give you a measured move of 21.22. So you can see how important this level is tonight. In terms of what I'm looking for, I believe this level will go, and we will get there eventually down to that 22 level. Any return of demand, sell into strength towards that 85 to 90 level. And to wrap up with the S&P, sorry, SPY, we just spoke about the S&P. Wrapping up with the SPY, further weakness is coming through, and from what I can see technically here, we've not quite got the technicals transpired into a negative outlook. However, you have to say that the next level comes in at 54.60. Now, if we get through this level of 60, As you can see here, if I just widen this out a little bit and then just put there, you can see if we break that level of 60, the next downside target comes in is at 53.9505. Just a bit lower here around here. In terms of how the market's looking, you probably won't get a break of this level of 54.60 until the S&P goes through that level of 21.64. In light of both cases, especially with cracks appearing in the downside for the S&P, I'm inclined to say that this market is destined to go lower, and it's just only a matter of time until the demand just wears very, very thin and supply will overcome it. So that's a wrap. So just to keep note, Aussie's level to the downside. So we're looking at 75.40 to the top side of 76.60, with euro 112.40 with a cap of 113.60.65. Dollar yen still locked in a 99.40 to 101.15 range, and sterling all eyes on the support at 131.50. That breaks down to a level of 130 as an objective. Gold's broken the support of 28, so all eyes on the bullish fortress at 1300. And oil looks like it could be weaker to $44 a barrel. And as I say, there are cracks clearly coming through here in the S&P. So all eyes on 64 level tonight and 54.65 in the SPY. Well, thank you again, and hope you have a great weekend, and watch out for the report that will be released on Monday.